Hey everyone, welcome back to the Keep Watching podcast, where we decide what to watch so you don't have to. I'm James.
And I'm Sarah.
And today we're going to be talking about Heart Signal 4, episode 14 and 15, The Final Decision.
Ooh, we made it to the big decisions.
Yeah, we got to catch up because this was not the original plan. I did not go back and look at the previous season of Heart Signal I watched and see that the 16th episode is the reunion episode.
Yeah.
So I was not prepared for the 15th episode to really be the actual finale. So
but we're here now, so
yeah. AH on YouTube gave us the heads up that episode 15 was the final decision. So, and then on top of that, we both kind of saw something that made it feel like we knew what was going to happen as far as it came to Ming-yu's decision. So we got a little spoiled. Yeah. So we just decided, let's just watch these 2 episodes and then we'll just talk about,
get through it.
You know, we're not going to go play by play as much since it's not as, we're not going to be able to speculate moment to moment since we already know the answers, but we'll cover it all, talk about maybe the season as a whole, the editing strategies as we go.
Yeah.
We'll see what we can talk about today.
And I mean, I guess it's always full spoilers, but extra warning, like this is the end of the show.
Well, if some people were
about
like
everything,
it's possible that somebody like watched episode 14 and then was waiting for our podcast to come out before watching episode 15. If you're one of those people,
go watch 15.
Quick, stop this podcast, go watch the final, and then come listen.
Yeah.
Okay. What else we got before we start here, Sarah?
Something amazing happened. We got an Apple review from somebody. I'm very excited. It's so nice. Galgatron wrote, "There's something incredibly fun about listening to 2 friends hyperanalyze shows. Always looking forward to the next episode." So thank you, Galgatron, for our very first Apple review. I'm so happy.
There you go. We did it.
It's awesome. Like we're a real podcast now.
Yes. Yeah. No, the reviews people leave on YouTube are great too.
Oh yeah,
I like
absolutely.
Sarah just is itching for the Apple. Is it the Apple review specifically?
Well, that's the only place I think that you can write just like a review. Other places you can like do a rating, but
I got you.
It's just nice. I don't know.
Yeah, feels good.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Yes. So I think we just start with the main event on this, and then let's just say who everybody picked, and then we can kind of go through the last 2 episodes and talk about it in the context of knowing who they're picking in the end, and then we can.
Yeah.
I think where we can speculate is for people that did match up, like what's the intensity level of their choosing each other, or if it's just kind of like, yeah, we chose each other at the end of this TV show, So
yeah,
we can speculate on that. That'll be fun.
Okay, sure.
Where do we leave off in episode 13 though?
Oh, that's a rough one.
What was happening?
That was everybody came back from their trip, right? Like that was the very end of it. They were coming back from the trip.
Oh, okay.
Right?
It was the second half of the trip, and then they came back.
Yeah. They went on dates during the day in the town, and there was a super awkward breakfast.
The awkward breakfast. That was the highlight. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So there are a bunch of dates that we know about from the trip that were scheduled for when they get back to Seoul, and we're gonna see those plus some extra ones in these last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's reveal these. We're just gonna say who everybody picked right now.
You want to go over the mechanics of how this is shown at all, like the phone calls and the.
You explain to me how it works, sir.
Okay, so they were all at final dinner, and they get a text that says, "Hey, who you picking for this show?" And so they all had to sit there at the same table and decide who their final pick was. Then, sometime later, they're all scattered about at different locations in the neighborhood or whatever, just standing on the street looking forlorn. And we go around through each person, and they call the person they've picked. And they say some nice things, and then they hang up. And then maybe that person calls them back when it's their turn to make a call or not. And if that happens, then they meet up. If not, I guess they just stand on the street forever. I don't know. We don't see the sad times.
Okay. So the official decision, though, I actually was thinking about how this works. The official decision is like when they're texting at the dinner table.
Yes.
And then theoretically they can't change after that. I don't know.
Yeah, I would think so because I feel like production uses that to like put the order in of like who is calling who when, just to make the logistics a little easier. Because if two people are calling one person, but that person has already run to the person they choose for the end, it's a little weird. You got to have them get all their calls first before they meet up.
We always talk about how in like Singles Inferno, the most likely, at least in the first 2 seasons, like the main decision of the season is always like going to be a girl, because like they have all the guys like go pick their girl, and then the girl either chooses one of the guys that goes to them, or they just like leave the island with nobody.
Yeah.
So the girl doesn't actually have to like go choose a guy that's not going to pick them back. So it's like, and they're also the last ones to pick on the season. So like their decision becomes like the big reveal or decision that needs to be made at the end. But on this show, I feel like it doesn't matter, right? Yeah, I don't think it matters. So we can, we'll talk more production edit decisions later, but that's where I'm at with I think the production could have chosen anybody as the main character, and it would not have affected like the end game mechanic of how they reveal to each other. I don't think that matters.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Well, that's what is happening at the end during this final decision. Let's just reveal it in the order that the show reveals it to us. So I call this the least important character to most important character list. But at least the way that the show decided to show these characters. So
yeah. So no surprise, Ji-won, who has been on the show the least, is our first to make a call, and he calls Ji-young. Says some nice things.
Yeah. They all kind of say the same things to each other, right? Especially the people that like kind of know they're not getting picked back. It's like,
it's just like, thank you for allowing me to feel feelings or whatever.
yeah. Basically.
I was a dead husk before this, but you brightened up my life, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
It's fine, you're not picking me, whatever.
Like even if Ji-won is calling Ji-young first, like the way it's depicted on the show, like is her decision locked in? Like I don't think she could like hear his last words and be like, "Oh my gosh, I should have picked Ji-won,"
Yeah, I think I
don't think they could switch their answer.
Unless she did a very dramatic like, "No, I must change it." And that might make good TV too. They might allow it.
I would hope that they would allow that to happen okay. Yeah, Ji-won for Ji-young.
So next it's Jumi calling Gyeo-rae. No surprise there.
Yeah.
And then Yisu calls Ming-yu. Again, no real surprise for, I would say, most everyone. Yeah, by the end. It's pretty apparent.
Yeah. I feel like if this is least important to most important, I think Jumi deserves to go after Yisu in this order.
That's fair. Yeah.
Okay. I would go if I was ranking least important characters, I'll go Ji-won and then Yisu, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Even if her own relationship situation didn't pan out, she at least like made some choices and was involved in other people figuring their shit out. Yeah. Yisu was just there being unknowable.
Yeah. I like Jumi more and more as the season went on.
Yeah, sure. See, the cool lawyer grew on you. I knew it would happen.
Yeah, I don't know if her being a lawyer has anything to do with it.
Well, no, but it's just she is the cool lawyer.
Okay. All right. Who's next?
Then we have Gyeo-rae calling Ji-young.
Yeah.
And no surprise.
At one point, it was unclear, but if you watch these 2 episodes, it was obvious.
By the time you get to this part of the show.
As much as I was picking Ming-yu to pick Ji-young by the end, I do think it was obvious at the point that they were picking what was going to happen.
Yeah. I would say across the board. Like, it was not a big surprise at all.
I thought like maybe actually Hu-shin's choice was maybe the hardest to predict, but still I would have gotten it right. So yeah,
I agree.
All right, Gyeo-rae for Ji-young.
Yes, and then Jimin for Hu-shin. Hu-shin calls Ji-young, so no match there.
Yeah.
And we get down to Ming-yu, who calls Yisu, and then
well, that was the big moment.
Runs to her.
Yep, good job, Interregnum and Sarah. You
Yep.
got
Yep.
it. Well done, everyone. I think I might be the only person that was thinking it was Young, like in the entire world.
I don't think that's true.
You don't think it's right?
I mean, for a long time, I hoped it was going to be Ji-young for most of it.
I honestly feel like after this was over, like there was actually like no intrigue to this season at all. But if you listen to our podcast, it was like super intriguing because I was really pushing for Ji-young. But like out there in the world where people are actually talking about this, they're like, yeah, shit's obvious. What's gonna happen?
Hey, it was a fun ride on this podcast.
Oh,
I regret nothing.
This destination at the end of this is a little disappointing, but the journey was a hell of a good time on this season. Yeah,
definitely.
Okay. And then Ji-young's pick ends up being the big one, I think. Like, they basically give Ming-yu away before it's all said and done, and then this is actually interesting.
Well, but also I think you mostly knew by the end who she was going to pick.
Yeah, but it's I don't know. It felt like there was an actual choice to be made here.
That's true. But yeah, so she calls Gyeo-rae. So then they
Gyeo-rae.
go meet up on the street and have a cute moment. He gives her a hug. There's like physical contact on this show. Oh my god. And it is very, very cute.
Was there that much with Gyeo-rae and Ji-young? Physical contact? I feel like Ming-yu and Isu probably had more.
There was some hand holding / she gave her hand warmers like to warm up her hands.
Okay.
But no, Gyeo-rae came in, he wrapped her up in a big hug, and then there was hand holding. So
okay.
They did the most physical contact on the show, I guess.
Or at least Gyeo-rae was hype.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, well,
there we go.
That's what happened.
We got two couples.
Yeah. So I have a ton to say about like production decisions now that we know the ending of the show.
Yeah.
Do you want to save that for the end? I feel like we should save that for the end.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's not take too much time, but let's go through. I think we should just go through each person, each character one by one, and maybe talk about the dates that they went on in the last couple episodes, and then we can talk about them on the whole or give them a eulogy for the season or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. And we'll do it in the same order. Least important to most important based on how the show did it at the end. So we'll start with G1.
I will say there's the thing I noticed in these last two episodes that I hadn't seen before, which is there is an art print above G1's bed that is a photo of a cake, and in the icing on the cake it says like "No one loves you." It's just the saddest thing. I feel like whoever was decorating the house did not understand English, maybe recognized the word love and went, "Oh, this is nice," and put it above his bed. But it's just so sad that he's our least important quote unquote character who had this sad photo above his bed the whole time.
I googled G1 "No one loves you" cake, and some cakes came up that say "Nobody loves you." But I don't know. I did not notice what you're talking about in the show.
I did not bother to take a screenshot, but it's above his bed.
Was it heart shaped?
No, it's just a normal
circle?
Cake. Yeah, circle cake.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of cakes that say "Nobody loves you" on Google Images. Maybe it's like a meme. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
Wow, that's super weird. Okay. In the meantime, Ji-won was still allowed to be on the show in the last two episodes, and he got one more date with Ji-young.
Yeah. But I think in this one, he kind of turned things around, because in the previous, when they were away, he had that date with Jumi, and she was like, maybe reassess how you're handling things. It might not make her feel great. And it finally sunk in, and he's like, oh, I understand that I was being real aggressive, and maybe you didn't like that.
Yeah. It's not as good as Gyeo-rae was, but it's like an attempt at kind of the same move, right?
Yeah.
Based on how Ji-young is edited in these conversations, I feel like she was edited very similarly. Or maybe not super similarly, but I don't know. I feel like Ji-young was responding positively to Ji-won, or maybe the first time. Again, kind of similar to how it was with Gyeo-rae. My question is, Sarah.
Yes.
If for whatever reason Gyeo-rae was not an option,
Uh-huh.
for Ji-young after she realizes Ming-yu is picking Isu, because she
Mhm.
definitely figured that out at some point.
Yeah, yeah.
Like let's say like Gyeo-rae like chooses Jumi, like they have a couple good dates, and he decides, oh,
Yeah, yeah.
this is the person I should have been with the whole time.
Mhm.
Who does Ji-young pick in the end of the show?
I want to say Hu-shin, but I am kind of I'm biased towards that because I like him the best of all the guys on the show. And I
Yeah,
don't know if that's influencing
I
it or
don't
not.
know. Like as much as I want to shit on Ji-won for like being like hella persistent about going for one
Mhm.
girl, even though another girl's like crazy into him and he's not even entertaining it.
Yeah.
Like, is he really like one kind of random coincidence away from like from actually matching with Ji-young here? That's what I wonder. I don't know. I think Ji-young actually might pick Ji-won.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess. Oh, here's the other thing. I need to apologize to the production of this TV show,
Oh,
because
okay.
clearly at this now that I've seen the results, clearly they were not lying about the text the entire time. Like they were just
Yeah, yeah.
straight up showing us the entire time. Oh yeah, Minkyu's into Yisu. Like
It just made no sense with what the rest of
yeah,
they were
they
showing us.
they didn't let it make any sense with with what they showed us, but that was the reality, I guess.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I guess I'd have to go back. I mean, Jiyoung was texting Hu-shin at times, maybe after their dates. I don't know if Jiyoung ever texted Jiwon.
I don't think so.
But at the same time, I feel like there was a long stretch where she wasn't texting Gyeo-rae, like outside of the first couple days.
Mm-hmm.
And Gyeo-rae was able to turn it around with this kind of
That's true.
self-reflection. So,
And G1 did come in on the end on like the last day or something with like this heartfelt handwritten letter to her that made her cry and then write her own letter back. And that may have also, if Gyeo-rae wasn't in play, may have pushed her in that direction too.
yeah. I honestly think it might have been way closer than we think with
Yeah.
G1. And then there's some other stuff I want to talk about with Jiyoung, but we can wait till we get to her.
Yeah.
That's about it for G1, right?
Yeah. That he was at work too much for this entire show. So
Yeah.
of course he's not gonna get the best result in the end.
Yeah. Part of what I want to talk about when we get to production stuff is the casting decisions, and we can talk more about
Yeah.
G1 then. But as far as his activities in these last two episodes, I think we're good, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Next is Jumi. She gets her final date with Gyeo-rae that they scheduled or
Mm-hmm.
promised each other.
Right.
Yeah, I like at this point in the season, like I think like Jumi's like very attractive when she's like describing how aware she is of like everybody's situation.
Yeah.
And like yeah, so like that's what I started to appreciate about her. But then when she switches to like talking about her own feelings, it's a little to me like I don't know if she's like trying to say it in a way that like protects herself, or I don't know, or maybe she's like not like she's not like so into Gyeo-rae that she's gonna like be crazy about it, you know? She's just kind of like I don't know.
Well, she said some things that make sense in a certain way where she didn't want to push him too hard because like in the end if that was the reason he picked her it would feel less good than if he just decided to pick her on his own, like it would be less authentic, I guess.
But my thing with that is like, does anybody ever just pick somebody because they like keep pushing? Like if anything, that it turns into a negative if somebody feels that way, right?
I would disagree on these kinds of shows. I feel like every single one of these that I've watched, like if not the main storyline, one of them is dude is into girl, she is not into him, but he sticks at it for the whole season and then finally wins her over and we're all very happy about it, except I hate it.
Yeah,
because
I think you're right about that storyline as an edit for the TV show, which may just speak towards not necessarily specifically Korean storytelling or what they're looking for in guy. I don't know, because I don't watch enough like American these types of shows to be like, oh yeah, this happens in those shows too. But yeah, it does seem like we get that edit, but I don't know if that's actually the reality of the situation, but the editors like to make it feel like that's what it is. Like the guy is like a guy being super persistent is like super sweet and makes like yeah. I get from like your perspective why that is like it's it's like bad messaging
Yeah,
to
because
guys
like
be like, "Oh yeah, if you just keep trying eventually it'll work out." But
yeah.
like
In a show context, it is less scary, we'll say, but like if we keep telling stories that this is yeah, you just keep at it and she'll give in, that turns into something way worse and scarier in the real world if we take that message to heart and people follow that as the way they pursue people.
yeah.
So that's why I hate it.
Yeah, so I think we get that story, but in a lot of cases, it's not actually the reality. So I know like that's the case in like Singles Inferno 2.
Hmm.
And it's very much like this one guy likes the one girl the whole season. And then we get from her side of the story, we see her like, oh, maybe she likes these other guys, but then ends up choosing the guy that like kept trying the whole time. And then they make that guy seem like really good because
Yeah.
like everything he was doing was so nice and sweet and what a great guy for this doing all this for this girl. But like in reality, like the girl might have also liked him back for a long time. And
Yeah.
we was
The
I
edit was just a little weird, yeah.
like I don't actually think there are girls on these shows that are just like I guess the one reason you might do it is just like, oh, I want to leave the show. I want to end the show with a couple, but then like
Yeah.
their relationship doesn't go anywhere after the show.
Right.
But I don't think there's any girl that's actually falling for guys that are just hella persistent, and that's their only upside. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that's a real thing going on.
Yeah, I hope not, but it's extra worse than that this is the story we're telling in these shows, you know, trying to make it seem like it is that when it's not. It gives women less agency and it's creepy and I don't like it.
Like in the scenario that, let's say, like there was that kind of argument on the group date with Gyeo, like when Ji-young has to break
Mhm.
up with Gyeo-rae and
G1.
Ji-won at the same time on that group date,
Yeah, yeah,
basically.
yeah. Mhm.
And then let the scenario where like Gyeo-rae never apologizes, and then
Yeah.
they never have that conversation. Like I don't like she's not picking Gyeo-rae, and she's not picking G1 probably if he doesn't say anything nice that we saw as well.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like maybe she ends up picking Hu-shin because Hu-shin was just consistently nice.
Yeah.
But even then, like I'm not believing that it's like a super big thing. I'm not even necessarily believing that this Gyeo-rae Ji Young thing is that serious because like
Well, he certainly seems to think it is,
oh
at least the
Gyeo-rae,
way it's portrayed in the end.
yeah, Gyeo-rae is in on this. Every
Yeah.
single guy other than Ming-yu is in on Ji Young for sure. That, but in terms of like, am I really taking Ji Young's decision that seriously when like it's only been a few days since she realized the guy she liked wasn't going to pick her. So
Yeah.
I have to be super skeptical about the intensity of the relationship from her side for Gyeo-rae.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. And you know me, I'm cynical and dead inside, and I don't believe anybody here is actually even here for love. So
that's-
yeah, I don't believe in any of it.
Yeah. Still don't know why you watch these shows if that's what you believe. Okay.
I don't know.
Back to Jumi. We got it way.
We got way out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just basically like I think she kind of knows at this point. Like ever since she talked to Ji-young late at night after Ji-young talked to Gyeo-rae and he apologized, I
Mhm.
think Jumi has been like she might have even realized it before Ji-young did. Like, oh, like you really like Ji-young tried to say like, oh, I want to be really good friends with him, which actually
Yeah.
still might be the case. But Jumi was taking that as like, oh, you're seeing him differently. Like she's saying things about Gyeo-rae that she wasn't saying before.
Yeah. And we do get kind of a montage of her like different times kind of encouraging them to talk to each other and like almost pushing them together, even though it is counteractive to her pursuits.
Yeah, I don't know why she does that, which also makes me question like how much she really cares. Like she likes Gyeo-rae the best, and other than maybe Ming-yu, like it's still like Jumi's actual position on the show is kind of weird to me. Like, did she like Ming-yu the best? Then she went down to Gyeo-rae, and then I feel like she doesn't try that hard for Gyeo-rae, but maybe that's just her personality. But also, I feel like if you really like somebody on the show, you wouldn't be like actively trying to match the person you like with somebody else.
Yeah, that is a weird move, but I do think she just realized that he was not going to pick her, and she just is a nice person and was like, oh, you two probably match up well, so moved it in that direction.
There's a lot of awkward moments in this kind of like wrap up of the season where like Jumi's on this last date with Gyeo-rae, and I feel like she has to have this moment, which maybe it happened naturally, I'm not sure, but I feel like she is in this like awkward spot of having to explain her feelings to Gyeo-rae.
Yeah, which I feel like that has been done before. But
yeah, it's like kind of already been done, but now it's like a little bit more has happened. So now she's having like, she could be slightly different feelings, but also it's like, if this was real life, you wouldn't explain your feelings to Gyeo-rae. You would just be like, all right, you like somebody else, let's move on with our lives.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
But the show needs like a moment of her trying to, and that was where it felt like once she started trying to explain her feelings for Gyeo-rae is when it kind of didn't feel as genuine to me. It felt more forced. Whereas when she was like describing how she saw everybody else's relationship in the house, that felt like her own read that was like really like made her look really good getting all that right. But all right, anything else on Jumi's dates on these last 2 episodes? Anything else? No?
Cool lawyer. Sad didn't work out for her.
All right. All right, Yisu. What did Yisu do in the last 2 episodes?
Yisu met up with Ming-yu at some point.
Yep.
And it wasn't that exciting.
Yeah,
they're never that exciting together.
Yisu was barely even in the last episodes, but Yisu was like, Yisu and Ming-yu didn't even go on a date in the last 2 episodes. They went to the grocery store together. It was 5 minutes or less, this date between them. It was so drawn out. Like they didn't even show. Was there really nothing to show? Is that
the cutest thing that happened was she went, "Oh, we should get pears," and he went, "Pears? Why would we get pears?" And she's like, "'Cause I like them." And he went, "Oh, let's get pears." That was it.
That's the extent. That's the cutest moment of
the cutest thing.
The entire season for those two.
They are such a bummer of a couple. I don't enjoy watching them date.
They're not I don't think they're a bummer. They're just
boring.
Relatively to the other great dates we've had on these seasons and we've had on these these kinds of shows in the past, it feels like nothing. But they're not like a true bummer date is like when people are like breaking up with each other and whatever.
That's true. Yeah.
It's just like, oh, seems like a solid date, but I'm not having any huge emotional reactions to watching it.
They did have on the last day, I guess everybody had a one-on-one with everybody of the opposite gender. And in Ming-yu and Yisu's one, she asked him the first time she made his heart flutter. And he said, backing up the car, which I didn't think was a big deal, but apparently it was.
It was the it was the chest thrusting in his direction.
Well, okay, maybe that. And then he, the time that he made her heart flutter the most was when he had what she calls a cute tantrum, which is that time that he fucking broke up with her, or at least it seemed like he was breaking up with her. Like, what is this couple? I could
not wait for you to react to this when I watched the show. I was like, Sarah, the part that was quote unquote the most confusing part of the season was Yisu's favorite moment of the season.
I don't understand her at all. Yeah, I don't understand him. I don't understand them together.
It has to be an editing nonsense. It has to be.
Yeah, that's true. I am sorry to both of them for how much angst I'm throwing in their direction. It's probably all production's fault, but it's hard to say from my position of not understanding anything that's happened between them.
Yeah. Back to my point about like the date being really drawn out though, is like I feel like the last like 2-3 episodes of this show were like you could start to feel it being more drawn out than usual.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
But on this date specifically, like they got groceries, right? Basically was nothing. Then they like show them putting the groceries in the trunk of the car. And then I kid you not, the camera just stays on the car.
Oh, like, it was product placement for the
car. Is that what it was?
100%. Oh, these last 2 episodes have also been, or at least episode 14 was full of product placements.
We get
the long ass subway scene. We get the car. Oh, there's some other stuff I've forgotten now, but yeah, it's just a lot of product placement.
Okay. Yeah, the subway scene was like shameless as fuck. But like
Oh yeah, yeah.
I maybe it's just because I'm not a car person, like I never noticed cars product placement. And I was just like, why is this trunk why do we need to watch this trunk close? Why? Like it took like 10 seconds. Like
But it was also cool because he opened it with wiggling his foot under the car.
I did
that was
notice
what you
that.
were supposed to pay attention
I did notice
to.
that, but like that's been a thing for so long that it like didn't like I wasn't like, oh, what a cool car. But
Well, and then they got in the car in this last episode. I think it was Jiwon, Hu-shin, and Yumi. Maybe I don't know. They got in the car and they're like, "Oh, did it start right when you got in?" And they're like, "Yes, it's so cool." Like they what I don't know what I did not recognize the badge on the car, but whatever it is, hardcore product placement. That's all that was about.
wow. Okay. Well, I'm blind to these product placements. And they
I've
just anger
gotten
me. They just anger me for
very
being like
used to them.
is showing me the most boring content for 10 seconds. What's happening?
Like
I don't get it.
you would find like these exact literal product placement like scenes in K-dramas. Like it is just as silly and like pointed, and like Subway is always a restaurant in a K-drama, you know, like
Yeah,
so
Subway's
I'm
very popular on these shows.
very used to it.
Okay. I mean I laugh when there's Subway stuff. Like it's like so shameless that it's funny, but like
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess these car product placements are like sneaky enough that I'm not even noticing them. And then I'm just mad because the show's like wasting my time on.
Oh, here's another one that you didn't notice is like Ming-yu fake dropped his phone and Yisu picked it up and was like, "Ah, it's not broken," because he has that Casetify case that they bought in the other episode when they were in the Casetify store being like, "Look at all of the cases."
Did he really drop it by accident?
I
didn't think of it, but
the way they zoomed in on it felt like either they were like, "Oh, we can sell this," or they did it on purpose. I'm not sure, but it seems
I could see it
too
happening, and then
convenient.
they're like, "We have to put this in. It's great for the product placement." But
Yeah.
I can't imagine. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's just hard for us to tell, but I couldn't tell that they were acting in that moment. But it's hard with subtitles to tell sometimes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right, yeah. So Yisu, in terms of like dating, was less than 5 minutes, and they went to a grocery store,
And a lot of it was product placement.
Yeah,
So.
which I did not even realize. All right, Gyeo-rae. What did Gyeo-rae do?
Oh, what did Gyeo-rae do?
He had dates with Jumi and Ji-young.
Yeah, he did. Oh, well, we had the whole the cafe after hours date with Ji-young, which took up a lot of time.
Yeah,
and had no product placements in it. So
that was a good date.
Oh yeah, he like got up early to make her banana pudding because she mentioned it that one time, and like taught her how to make coffee all like ghost style, and it was
Ghost style.
Yeah, you know, he was holding her hand while she was pouring the thing, and it was cute.
Yeah, that's true.
She did look at him a couple times, and she just totally had heart eyes. So I was like I actually kind of believe it to a certain extent.
Yeah, if you think about what Jian kind of has been like talking about throughout the show in terms of what she's looking for, it does feel like watching Gyeo-rae at his job is something that would like be attractive to Ji-young.
Yeah,
because she's kind of like at the stage of her life where she's looking for like a solid guy who she can have a family with, and
exactly.
maybe like I'm kind of surprised it took them this long to like go to Gyeo-rae's place. But like maybe she was thinking like, oh, like coffee shop owners not that impressive of a career, but now that she goes to see him and like the intensity of it, I definitely I could see it appealing to her. But then Gyeo-rae gets absolutely dunked on here because he's saying all this stuff about how like he shows her how to make the coffee, or maybe the machine makes the coffee. I feel like the translation was inconsistent. But then it like they taste it and I think it's fine. But he's like, oh, it's a little something. And then he makes the coffee because he thinks like his technique is gonna make it different. And then they like both sip it and he's like, oh yeah, you can taste the difference. And then she pretends like she can taste the difference. But then later when they still have the two coffees, she's like, close your eyes and sip this coffee and tell me which one it is. And he's like, let me taste the other one. And she gives him the other one. And then he's like, all right, the first one was like the machine or you. And she was like, nope, you're wrong. It's the other way around. So, yeah, that's
But it was a silly, cute moment together. Like she laughed so hard. That was
yeah.
It
At
was
that point,
good for the date, though. Yeah.
it seemed like at that point she must have been in on Gyeo-rae, but like I don't know if he was like I feel like if this was your like first impression of him, I feel like you might be like, oh yeah, this guy's full of shit. But like they'd already had enough good moments together that she wasn't gonna judge him based off this. But if this was like, I feel like this would be a pretty epic fail for a first date. Overall though, Sarah, what does Gyeo-rae do that's so amazing that works here? How does Gyeo-rae get Ji-young in the end?
Well, he had that really good apology. That was the first part.
Yeah, but only comes because
he fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think important.
I don't think it's
to be able to acknowledge. Maybe fucked up sounds a little harsh.
Fucked up is too strong. But I don't think he was that bad, but it was enough that apologizing is worth it.
Necessary.
Worth it, but
yeah,
not. Yeah.
He was just there, being useful. I think it like just doing things to make her comfortable, but not like putting too much pressure on her, and just giving her that nice sort of relaxing day when they like drove up the coast and whatever. When she was feeling very burdened about all the things, he just like made her feel comfortable when things were tough for her. Yeah. I think is the main thing.
Yeah, well, based on how you described it, just sounds like he pulled the Jumi strategy.
Yeah,
and then it just kind of worked.
Yeah,
because like Ji-young's gonna have like a self-reflective moment in some situation where she's like, I started to remember or like realize all those times that he was like being nice to me or comforting me or looking out for me, and they like flash back to him like getting her the specific coffee beans that she liked or that she requested, and I don't know, other moments. But it was like very similar to what Jumi was doing to Gyeo-rae. Right?
Yeah, but I think just like the Jumi situation, like if Ming-yu had turned around and been like, hey, I'm into you, Gyeo-rae wouldn't have stood a chance. And the only reason it didn't work out for Jumi is because Ji-young ended up, picking him and like giving him enough hope to like continue pursuing her.
Ji-young to Gyeo-rae, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think for both Jumi and Gyeo-rae, if Ming-yu was just like, yeah, you're the one I want to choose, they would have been like, hell yes. Like both of them? Yeah, okay.
No, not to Jumi. I think that like Gyeo-rae is not picking Jumi despite her consistent support and, doing the same thing he's doing, right? Because
Gyeo-rae's never
Ji-young is giving him enough where he thinks it's viable for him to pick her. But if that were not true, I think he would pick Jumi. Just the same way that Ji-young picked Gyeo-rae because Ming-yu was clearly not going to pick her.
Yeah, how close was Gyeo-rae to giving up on Ji-young and picking Jumi at the end?
If Awkward Breakfast had gone different, that would have been it.
Yeah, you think it's that's how much the difference is. Like Ming-yu says, hey, Ji-young, you want to go out today? And then now Ji-young, that's all it is. Yeah.
I think so.
And I just think like if that's true, like I can't believe that Ji-young is like super invested in the Gyeo-rae. I just can't. If that's how close it was.
Hey, it might grow over time, Yeah,
give
it a shot and see what happens. I don't know.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. Like you've definitely said this before. Like Ji-young should just have the option where she just picks no guy. And then,
I'm a big proponent of just like fuck this show. I'm going home.
And Singles Inferno has that option, but only for the girls. The guys theoretically have to pick somebody, I think.
That's true.
Well, we also have never seen it in 2 seasons of Single Inferno. The girls always will go with, even if they only have one option, they'll take the guy and at least pretend like, oh, we're leaving as a couple, even though it doesn't have to mean anything. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm kind of, I think if I was on the show, like I would just pick somebody. And
yeah, that's
I would either just pick the person I liked, or if I wasn't stoked about anybody, I would just pick, if somebody was into me, I'd pick them, and then it would just be nothing. But at least like, give the show a moment that they can edit around.
Yeah, you're there because you want to be on TV, so might as well like pretend to have a cute couple at the end, right? See?
Yeah. And I don't think this is totally 100% that with Ji-young. I just think it's not. I think it's closer
It's not
to that.
true love, we'll say.
It's closer to that than like some amazing relationship that's just starting. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. I was also wondering, Sarah, because like earlier in the season, we were getting like Gyeo-rae kind of being nervous and messing up his date
Mm-hmm.
strategy
Yeah.
with her, but then with this like second chance that he's gonna get, Gyeo-rae looks like so good
He
the
does. I
entire
think
time.
he's the kind of person who needs a chance to warm up and feel comfortable with people before he can like be that person, you know? Like he needed the time to warm up to be smooth and not an awkward grandpa.
Yeah, either that or, anytime he was awkward, they didn't show it because like they have to make him look good to
I
like
guess
explain this
that's fair.
this late in the game transition. But like they really depict him like you were saying, like he's saying like all the right things at all the right time.
Yeah.
And I was wondering like is there like a pressure if you can just tell that somebody is doing the right, like you go on a date with somebody, it's like, oh, they're doing all the right things and saying all the right things and whatever. Like, is there a pressure just to be like, okay, I guess I can't come up with a reason not to keep dating you? Like, I don't
That
know.
might be true, but God, I hope not. Like, if you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it,
I
and
guess so. But like on the
you shouldn't.
show, it's a little like,
Yeah, being on the show is a different situation.
yeah. But ultimately, like she is choosing Gyeo-rae over two other guys, so that is something. Like
Yeah,
she had to pretty much know Hu-shin and Ji-won were gonna pick her.
yeah,
So that does leave some legitimacy. At least Gyeo-rae wasn't the only option.
yeah.
There's something there, but okay. Yeah. And then the last thing I had is you think if Ming-yu is like, yeah, Ji-young, I'm picking you in the end, she picks Ming-yu still.
Absolutely.
It's not like this Gyeo-rae stuff was so powerful that like cause she goes on the date with Ming-yu like on Thursday, which is like the last day of dates.
Mm-hmm.
Like if that date goes a different way, she's still picking Ming-yu at the end.
I think so. I mean, she in that date says things that make it sound like she's definitely full on the Gyeo-rae train, but I think that's because she knows that Mingyu is
Yeah,
definitely not like she knows going into this date what this is going to be.
yeah. And it's like the first time we kind of get Ming-yu saying that he's not gonna pick her, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm inclined to believe that too. Like she's saying like, oh, she's had a change of heart, which is true, but it's like her change of heart to me is more likely like, oh, I see Gyeo-rae differently now, not that I don't like you anymore and I like him. It's like that's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
the show kind
exactly.
of makes it seem like it's like that, but I don't believe it could you could switch that quickly.
It's like you're not going to pick me, and I see him as a more acceptable second option now. So I'll go
Yeah,
with that.
yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else from Gyeo-rae for now on
Nope.
these dates? All right. Jimin. She has
Jimin.
she has a final date with Hu-shin. We don't
She
have to sit
does.
through another Jimin Ji-won date, thankfully.
Yes, everyone is happy about that.
Jimin's gonna finally make herself clear with Hu-shin, I think.
Yes. It surprises me how many times people have to finally make themselves clear on this show when I'm like, I thought we talked about this before, but okay.
Well, I think last time it was more of like revealing to him that she is interested in him,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
wasn't as committal. Like from Hu-shin's perspective, it wasn't necessarily like, oh, I'm 100% picking you over G1.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But this is more, I think she was making it clear.
Yeah. Which she absolutely needed to do because Hushin was a little clueless when it comes to her. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame Hu-shin for sticking with him picking Ji Young.
Yeah.
Because this whole thing with Jimin is like she's kind of I get like a similar vibe as Jumi a little bit where I think like they're using a defense of like or at least for Jimin like her defense is like, oh, I can't believe you didn't realize that I didn't like you. I thought I made it obvious. But from our perspective, she's not that obvious and Hu-shin isn't seeing it, and I think that's fair. And my feelings on that are like, if you're not making it obvious to somebody that you like them on these shows,
Mm-hmm.
chances are you might like them, but it's not like some crazy strong feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she's made her decision that she's gonna pick Hu-shin, but it's not anything so strong that she's like really fighting for it.
I think part of it is also just like her personality is so big and bubbly and cute that it's hard to distinguish like is she being cute at me, or is she just always cute? Like it could be really hard to tell. Like that adds to the being difficult to tell that she's actually into somebody.
From Hu-shin's perspective, yeah.
Yeah.
But like when she was really into somebody, like she talked about it all the time with the girls.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like I don't think she ever got to the point with Hu-shin where she was like basically. I think the girl said a bunch of times like, "Oh, we don't even know where Jimin is anymore."
Yeah,
because like we know the G1 stuff's not working out, but she hasn't then started talking about another guy in the house. So yeah. I think it got to a point where Jimin's still on the show and she's going to participate in the show, and I think she enjoys dating people and having a good time. And she's like, we'll talk about it more later, but she's like, she is a really good casting choice for the show.
Absolutely.
But I got the sense that even though she's picking Hu-shin, it's not something that's crazy strong, basically. Yeah.
And he's even said in earlier episodes where like he enjoys spending time with her, but he still wasn't sure if it was like he enjoyed dating her or just like friend hang out with her. You know, like it was he couldn't figure out what side of the line he was on for that. So again, do not blame him for not picking her.
Yeah. I do think she is authentic though, like when it comes to her like she talks about always wanting to be in love and stuff. Like I think she enjoys love and dating and flirting and all these things. Which is why I think she might have had the most fun on the show out of anybody.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like there was a stretch where she was kind of like hooked on G1 and was nervous, and it was maybe making her upset and stuff. But like I feel like towards the end there were a lot of moments where like there were like some shots where like everybody was kind of like in their heads about stuff, and she's just like smiling, like she's having a good time.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate Jimin on this show, despite maybe not she never having like she was never really that close, I think, to having a real relationship.
Yeah, I agree.
And her age is also a big factor. That
definitely.
Like wouldn't you love to see a 28-year-old Jimin like actually have a chance with these guys on these shows? Yeah, that's
definitely.
I think that would be super interesting.
But by the time she's that old, will she be different? Will the spark be the same? Who knows? Maybe part of what makes her this cute, bubbly thing is her youthful innocence and hasn't gone through, been squashed by life so much yet.
That's very possible. Yeah, that's definitely true. That could be affecting it. All right. Anything else on Jimin that you want to talk about? All right, Hu-shin.
Yeah, he went on that date with Jimin.
Jimin. No, he gets a Jimin and a Ji-young date.
That's true. He does get a Ji-young date. And
I think maybe again, but he makes it clear that he's going to pick Ji-young, or at least to Ji-young. He's really making it seem to Ji-young like, I'm going to pick you. Like he's like, I'd like you. He actually likes telling somebody you like them on the show is a pretty big deal. Yeah. If you use the phrase, I like you.
But what sucks is like the beginning of this date is Ji-young basically kind of gushing about Gyeo-rae and how she's like her feelings about him have changed, and it's like, yeah, he just never gave up on, trying to be with me or whatever, and he was always there being like supportive and whatever. And I just feel the look on Hu-shin's face is like, I just gave up pursuing you to support you, and how is it not me? Like, like I could see him thinking like, have I not been doing the same thing? Why did it turn around for that guy and not for me?
Yeah. And it's like, it's weird to think about like, well, if you had been like a little mean and then apologized for it, that was the move.
Although I don't think he ever knew what happened between them, right? He had asked about it.
And like, Hu-shin has no idea. I don't think Ming-yu knows either. I think it's literally like G1 and like G1 probably doesn't want to talk about it because it's like kind of admitting defeat if he talks about it. Mm-hmm. And then Gyeo-rae never told anybody. So I don't.
Ooh, but Yisu was there. She probably told Ming-yu.
Yisu was there, yeah. But she wasn't there for the apology. Neither was Ji-won. So yeah.
And maybe she wouldn't want to tell Ming-yu because it was all in regards to Ji-young being like, I'm totally in on Ming-yu, so fuck you guys. So,
yeah, that too. Yeah, at one point did Jimin like imply that she'll like wait for Hu-shin or like after the show? That's how like the host chose to interpret what she was saying at one point.
Yeah.
So she also was kind of like, don't worry, like you can pick Ji-young and then
when that doesn't work out, we can, we'll be friends or whatever. Yeah.
Like I think Jimin is still down to date Hu-shin after the show's over.
Yeah.
Even if she's not like super head over heels for him.
Mm-hmm.
He's still, still a fun person to date, regardless.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's still a chance for the Hu-shin and Jimin, even though they didn't pick each other.
Yeah.
But still, the age, Hu-shin's like 31, I think. So it's like a 7-year gap. It's pretty significant when like Jimin is like 24, which is actually like 22, 23. So
yeah.
I think 7 years is pretty significant for that age span.
That age, yeah.
We'll talk about Hu-shin more when we get to casting. Right?
Okay.
Leave some positive.
Yeah. He was my favorite. I liked him.
Yeah. I thought Hu-shin had like great, like he was really good with his words towards the end of the show. Like when he had to do these kind of like self-reflective moments on these dates, which I think they're like a little bit encouraged by production to do them.
Yeah.
And then he's really good. And there's a couple of like, they all have to sit down for one-on-ones at the end. I think he's good on those.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's something super awkward to do. And then there's gonna be a segment where they like have to they go around and like say what they appreciate about each other, and I think he was like funny again in that. And because does he get his thing appreciating Ming-yu?
Ming-yu,
yeah, okay, that was great.
I was so jealous. I am sorry.
Yeah, he basically like apologizes to Ming-yu for like for just like
giving him shit the whole time.
Yeah, giving him shit the whole season about like all the girls being into him. And then he's like, I apologize and thank you for going along with it so well. Like, he's like, and like, it actually is pretty good of Ming-yu to not overreact to this guy kind of teasing him the whole time. Like he's aware that it's a joke the whole time.
Yeah.
So both, I think the Ming-yu and Hu-shin dynamic was
pretty good.
One of the best dynamics of the season, honestly. All right, let's talk about Ming-yu next.
Okay, the mystery man that I could never figure out this whole entire season.
He went on that barely a grocery date with Yisu, and then he does get the last date with Ji-young. Last date of the show. He finally is able to like kind of explain himself.
Like kind of like just the bare minimum of explaining himself. Yeah. Like he doesn't explain why, and maybe he did at the time, but it's not in the show. It's like he pulled back because he could feel that he was gonna really like her if he like let himself spend time with her and try to like her, but he didn't want to. So he like was afraid of having more feelings for her and like pulled back and was not clear about that to her at all. But he never really says why he is scared of feelings when he's on this dating show and why it's specifically her that like makes him feel weird. So that's still unclear.
Yeah. I found this to be super unsatisfying. This explanation. And if there's some information out there that makes me kind of believe what Ming-yu's saying, but my gut reaction is just to be like, Ming-yu is not good with words and not good at like breaking up with
rejecting people. Yeah,
rejecting people. So this is like some bullshit excuse that doesn't make any sense.
It's not you, it's me. Oops. Yeah.
But then we had that information previously in the season that like Ming-yu's like ex-girlfriend was like also a flight attendant or something. Flight attendant.
Yeah.
And then also like I think Ming-yu has said on the show like the girls that he's dated in the past are like Ji-young. So however he views Ji-young, he's seeing like similarities between Ji-young and his like past girlfriends. So maybe like what Ming-yu is saying is actually what's going through his head. Like it's super unfair to Ji-young.
Yeah, and he should have been upfront about it earlier.
Yeah. I mean, like I still believe. Even though Ming-yu picked Yisu every time, and I believe that now, or at the end, like I still believe he had feelings for Ji-young at some point.
Yeah,
and I don't think it's that weird to like not talk about this. Like it's a weird thing to talk about with somebody, and then like no matter what, it's weird. Like I don't think it's worth talking about. Like if he ends up liking Ji-young more than Yisu. Like, probably better not to talk about this, right? And then, but then he has to like explain himself at the end. And it's like, this is partially the reason, but also like, I don't know. It would have been nice. What would have been more satisfying if he was like, yeah, Yisu and I really connected. And then they had a flashback of all these moments where him and Yisu like were super cute together and it was amazing. And we didn't get to see it, but now we're seeing
found.
it now. But it's like, it's so unsatisfying because the explanation, if it's true, is like outside of the production of the TV show to the point that we can't understand it.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating because like the girl he is going to pick, we don't have any evidence as to why he's picking her. So
just that she's the least complicated one, I think, is honestly what it came down to.
And then we can get to there's a comment we got this week from a listener. Let me pull it up. Bernie on YouTube. He let us know, and I do not keep up with like the rumors going around.
Yeah.
As the season's going on. But apparently at some point there was a rumor that Ming-yu and Yisu were like together and like they were seen together because there was like a photo.
Okay.
And then who knows if like the fact that they like saw each other and it got leaked, like maybe that had an impression on production, and maybe production was like, we're not gonna, maybe production was like mad at them potentially. But then Bernie also said that at some point they like leaked photos of Ming-yu with like Jumi and Ji-young, but then people were thinking like, oh, those photos were like fake or like staged to counteract the original photo.
yeah,
or something. So I don't know. Like, I honestly can't tell if was production just like, we're not gonna make Yisu and Ming-yu look super good on this show. Like
this is your punishment. You're gonna look like the least charismatic couple ever.
I want to not believe that. I don't think it's like,
yeah,
I don't know, maybe 90% of the Heart Signal audience keeps up with rumors, and this is a huge spoiler that blows the whole season. But to you and me, since we don't do it, it feels like, I don't know, it feels like majority of people aren't gonna be like looking into who's who. I don't know. I don't know what people do. But yeah, either way, like, because at least on this podcast, I was hyping up this Ming-yu decision to be like the biggest decision of the season. And basically in these last couple episodes, I feel like they like throttled back off that. They pulled away from that and just kind of let us know that that's not like it's not as much a decision as it looks like it's going to be.
Yeah.
And then, but like, my question is, we can talk about some more when we talk about production, I guess, but like my question is, why is Ming-yu the main character of the show? Like, did he have to be the main character of the show?
Like, I honestly feel it comes down to the cuteness of his dates with Jimin in the beginning. Like, she did him a solid and made him main character on the show by just being cute as fuck when they went on dates, and then that just transitioned to the rest of it.
Okay. Let's save it a little bit. We'll talk about it more.
Okay.
You want to talk about Ji-young before we dive deep into production talk? Okay.
Well, we've talked about everybody else she's interacted with, so what is left for Ji-young?
Yeah, so she went on a date with Ji-won, Gyeo-rae, and Ming-yu. Wait, and Hu-shin, right? She went
on dates with all the guys.
Yeah. See, like, why isn't, like, Ji-young was a main character, but I feel like she should have been like the most main character, not even close.
I agree.
Yeah. And I don't know why that isn't the case, but yeah, overall, I would say these like last two episodes though, it's like, it's tough for her that she just has to like keep rejecting these guys over and over again, basically.
Yeah, this is why that like quiet persistence sucks, because she has to keep going, no, I'm sorry, or just sit there and smile politely while they emotionally dump all their feelings at her feet again. But yeah, it
like,
sucks.
There's got to be like some people that would enjoy this, like being liked by so many guys. But watching Ji-young, it looks like she's definitely uncomfortable and wishes that, you know.
Yeah, she feels super bad for all of them.
Yeah,
that she's not interested in. You know,
like she kind of just wishes like at least two of these guys would just get over her. you know, make her
Yes,
life a little easier. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Then we've already talked about Gyeo-rae's determination working in the end, supposedly. In this case, like it is.
And in this, the way he goes about it is better than the normal story we get. Like, it is him being like a supportive person instead of just like, I'm gonna keep asking her out, or I'm gonna keep texting her and it's just gonna work out, or whatever.
Yeah.
Um
There's like a
he's
ramp
actually
up,
a kind person in it, which is the difference that is important to me.
well, I wouldn't say like guys that have had this strategy, or women maybe that have had this strategy also. But I wouldn't say anybody's like not kind throughout their attempts. I wouldn't go that far.
Well,
But
there is a certain like blindness to the effect it has on the person they're pursuing. Like, think Ji-won through all of this season before this last episode where he Jumi finally made him realize that he was being a burden to Ji-young, you know?
I guess I mean, I like, as much as I see that it's like Ji Young is having a hard time rejecting these guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like
Yeah.
I don't feel that bad for her that like she's on a show and all the guys like her, you know? It's like I don't really feel bad for her from that respect. But I think with Gyeo-rae, it's more that there was actually like a change over time that kind of
Mm,
helped. Whereas
yeah.
like I don't think G1 really changed over time,
Yeah, that's
you
accurate.
know? And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times when we see guys that don't succeed with the strategy, it's kind of like, I don't know. I like, they don't really open themselves up anymore. It's just, at least the
Mm,
edit we get is always just like, "Hey, I still like you. Hey, I still like you."
yeah.
And maybe that's just the edit we get when it's not going to work out. And maybe Jian did try different things and opened up about stuff, and we just didn't get to see it because it would have made it too confusing.
Mm.
But Gyeo-rae is like pretty bad at dating in the beginning of the show. And then
Yeah.
and then he like actually has a moment and starts being good at dating basically. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a little bit different yeah, like you said, it is different this time. I don't know if I'm trying to think of anybody else we've seen that has had an edit like that. Like usually like when the guy, the determined guy gets the girl in the
Mm-hmm.
end. I don't know if they really have like a change
Yeah,
in the
I
middle of
don't
the
think so.
season. It's more just, I think we're being misled about how much the girl was into them the whole time. So
Yeah.
what I think.
Yeah, that's
So
fair.
yeah, Gower's a little bit unique in that sense of his story. But yeah, we did talk about Ji-young's dates already mostly. All right, let's yeah. So then we have this segment about where they like go around the room, and I think like each person that we get to see, like each person like eulogizes another person on the season, essentially, is what it is.
Yeah.
And then yeah, what Hu-shin said about Ming-yu was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Apologizing in the final hour of the show.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to say, when they got to Jumi
Oh, absolutely.
talking about Ji-young and then Ming-yu talking about Gyeo-rae, I was tearing up. Like the shit
Yeah.
was so good.
Mm-hmm.
Jumi's was kind of out of nowhere. Like I get that they were talking to each other the whole time, but like the amount of appreciation that Jumi had for Ji-young, and maybe it's
Yeah.
just Jumi being extra emotional maybe in this moment of like the show being over, but it sounded like Jiyoung was like, she made Jiyoung seem like the best friend of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say on these shows, I tend to not believe in the romances that come out of them, but here are some friendships that I think might be authentic and last beyond the show.
Yeah, I mean like she's tearing up, and so it feels super authentic. Other than that, you could say it's like more of like the show being over is maybe how
Yeah.
her brain is thinking about it. But yeah, and then Mingyu talks about Gyeo-rae and how, I don't know what I forget what kind of stuff he said, but it made me tear up too. It was kind of just like
Yeah.
their friendship as roommates, and
Mm-hmm.
Gyeo-rae was always there for him in his lowest points and stuff.
You know, every time he was in a sad hoodie on his bed. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe the two most beautiful moments of the season were in this segment, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
That's
awesome to
good.
watch. Yeah, again. It's the journey was so good,
Mm-hmm.
even though I hate one half of the ending, but yeah, and like we said, they all do the private one-on-ones before the final decision, right? It must have been
Yes.
before the final decision.
Yep. Yep.
Any of the specific one-on-ones you want to talk about? I think you mentioned one of them, but
Yeah, that was the only one that really stuck out to me. Everything else was just nice.
it's so produced that it's awkward, and it basically like the stuff that they say to them here is kind of like the stuff they say to them when they call them in their final decision,
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
much. And they don't show every one-on-one. It's just like the ones that the show has set up. I think everybody does meet with everybody one-on-one, if I had to
Yeah,
guess.
but not all of them are like we don't need to see Jimin and Gyeo-rae
Yeah.
awkwardly chat for 2 minutes.
Yeah. So yeah, they just say nice stuff to each other basically. But it's a little produced.
Hmm.
Yeah, now we get to the final decision. And we already talked about that.
Yeah.
So yeah. What do you want to talk about first with production stuff? You want to talk about casting? You want to talk about the editing strategy? What do you want to do?
Let's talk about casting because I
Casting,
feel
okay.
like I'm gonna go off the rails on editing.
Okay. So casting, I think we just talk about like we'll go through each person, like talk about who we like and like who we could get rid of, and like is this the word people you often use like archetypes, which I guess we haven't really talked about archetypes for these shows, but
Yeah, we haven't.
we talk about like you like the hot one, and then there are archetypes out there, but
Yeah.
I don't talk about archetypes that much. But we can just say like somebody like this. It's like these are the people we want to see, and then somebody like this maybe you just pass on them next time.
Yeah.
You want to go through in the same order?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, G1.
I don't like somebody on the show who's not there for a bunch of the time because they're at work. It seems like that was a bad pick.
Yeah. I think G1 is an archetype that they always cast on these shows. So basically, he's not, is he a doctor? I don't know if he's officially a doctor or
he's like a doctor.
He's an intern, but he's going to be a doctor, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like there's always a doctor on these shows.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking back to like Singles Inferno 2. I think like the doctor, the personality of the doctor
is more confident and outgoing.
Yeah. Which isn't always the case. Like I think in Heart Signal 2, the doctor character is more passive for sure.
Yeah.
So it's not always the case, but like G1 is very much like probably if you're making a comparison to Singles Inferno, like he's like Dongwoo.
Yeah.
That's like the archetype that they're filling. So I don't know. I don't need a doctor on every season. Like maybe this is the thing that people need.
Yeah.
And there is an element of like they love these like because it's like their occupations and ages are like secrets for the first day or like 24 hours. I don't know.
They love the reveal of a doctor.
They milk the reveal of the age occupations. Like they love this because it's like the age thing I get because it's like built into the language structure. But like I don't know. Like would I ask somebody what their occupation? Yeah, but I like wouldn't be weighing it unless it was like something I really hate. Like, but
yeah.
I don't know. I think they just love this reveal of like, oh my god, he's a doctor. And yeah, I don't need that. So
what about the confident guy part of it?
And I also don't need that. I don't.
Okay.
I don't need the overconfident guy who thinks everybody would just like him if they got to know them. I don't need that either.
Yeah. Fair.
Now I get why, like, maybe you want somebody to look like a little silly and stupid, and maybe you want that on the show. I don't know, but
you do need somebody to break the ice on the first day. Like, I think first day G1 was not bad G1. He came in and like got people like talking and moving around a little bit.
Yeah, he was the one. He was like the one guy that wasn't just sitting there. Like he was being like, I don't know, asking about things. And I see what you're saying. He got the ball rolling.
Yeah,
but it's not like these. Maybe episode 1 would have been worse if G1 wasn't there. But like, which I guess there is a sense of an aspect of like they want the season to start out good.
Oh yeah, you need a strong first episode.
So maybe that's his role. Maybe that was Jiyeon's entire role this season was just to get the ball rolling and then
go to work.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't need it. What I like to see on these shows, I would like everybody to be so likable that it's actually like hard for everybody to choose. You know what I mean? And maybe that's just like not how it would ever work. like you're no matter how great like four like if you give somebody four options, no matter how great all the options are, like they're always gonna be like, oh, this is my person, right?
Yeah.
It's like you line up like if you line up a bunch of tens, like you're always gonna think somebody's an 11, like it's like something like that. Like it's
Yeah.
yeah, my like if I was like giving production or casting notes on this, like I would be like, you know, don't don't worry about people's occupation so much when you when you cast people on this show. Like
I mean, worry enough in that like they should be able to get off of work and be on the show the whole time.
that, yeah,
you
like
know?
that's that part of it's like, duh, like don't do this. Like I can't believe they did that. But even if G1 was available the entire time, I still think he would be about the same character.
Mm.
And I this kind of archetype, I'm fine if they just don't do it again. I don't need this.
That's fair.
Okay. What about Jumi, Sarah?
Jumi's great. Cool lawyer, kind person. Loved her.
Yeah. I think Jumi's in the right spot where she's like a unique person and is still likable enough that, you know, guys will be interested in her.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I think she's good cat. I think she is good ultimately. Like I had my issues with her in the beginning, which was more of just like me personally would be like I would be like off put by some of the comments she had.
Yeah.
As like her trying to be the older sister or whatever. But by the end, I did end up thinking she was pretty good when it was all said and done. My one thing is like again, I don't know what the casting process is and how much they could really know this, but like if she is kind of the person that isn't going to fight when she likes somebody, like is that a kind of like I kind of think like okay, she liked Gyeo-rae the best by the end, but she wasn't like crazy about it, and that's why she didn't fight for it. Like I'm not convinced she wouldn't fight for somebody she was really into.
Okay. But that is she too passive for a show?
If she was really into Gyeo-rae and her personality is like this is what she does, this is her personality. Like even if she likes somebody, she like puts their needs so far ahead of hers that she basically helps them get with somebody else. Like
she is too good of a person for this show.
is that good casting? If somehow they knew that was Jumi's personality, and I don't even think that that's actually Jumi's personality, I would say you stay away from that. Yeah,
that is hard to figure out, but yeah, not exactly most beneficial to the show if they just kind of give up.
Yeah, but she gave us a lot of cute moments of just like showing her like caring for people.
Yeah,
when she's kind of stopped being the mom of the house, I think that's when at least they stopped showing us the moments where she was like the mom in the house, and that's I think that's when I started warming up to her. All right, Yisu. Oh my goodness.
What is a Yisu? Yisu is definitely a person you add in partway through, but there's a lack of personality, I feel. Like I don't know what her personality is at all. But it just feels like flat and like she doesn't bring much to the show other than some confusing times with Ming-yu.
Yeah, and especially like we have to think of it in the context of like, okay, they casted Yisu to be a game changer, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, what's the role? What type of person should be a game changer? And is it somebody like Yisu who's like quote unquote the hot one? Like is that I
think you do want the hot one to be the game changer, but you also want somebody who's a little bit different than the people who are already in the house, you know? Okay. And she is, but not in a way that I would have wanted on the show, because I don't know, like what is like her, how would you describe her personality?
Undefined. I'm not willing to say she doesn't have one, but I did not see one that I could identify. Yeah. I don't know. Like I still think Yusu could be like super funny, and her and Ming-yu are laughing, but like maybe they're laughing and it's not super obvious what they're laughing about. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with Yisu. So I would be curious. I'd be curious to like watch the alternate reality where Yisu is in the house from the beginning.
Oh, okay.
And because if she's quote unquote the hot one, like I remember like the guys all had that moment in the beginning where they were like, "Oh, did you just see that girl?" When like Ji Young got up and walked away. But like,
Mm-hmm.
is Yisu supposed to be that girl if she was there?
Maybe.
I don't know. I honestly can't tell. So
But I think what makes her the like game changer character instead of a starting character is like she seems like she's going to be more persistent and like aggressive, which is what you like need for somebody who comes in late. Like I don't think Ji Young would do well as a late add-in. You know, she's too
yeah, Jiyoung would not
passive
be.
and yeah, it just
Jiyoung and
wouldn't.
Jumi would not be good game changers.
Yeah,
I don't think.
Jimin
How about
would
Jimin
come in and
though?
be a bubbly, charming. Yeah, she would be good.
Yeah, like potentially is this season better? Again, Jimmy would be super young. Well, let's say like a 28-year-old Jimin with a similar
Mm-hmm.
personality
Yeah,
comes in, and then Yisu's there in the beginning.
yeah,
That might have been better. I don't know.
yeah. That would probably be pretty good.
Yeah, I think someone like Jimin is a better game changer than
Yeah.
Yisu for me. Because what's also so weird about Yisu is like we got nothing. Like she had to go on a outside of Ming-yu, I'll say. Like even with Ming-yu, we didn't get much, but we got nothing with any of the other guys. Like she had to go on a date with Gyeo-rae, and it was just like instantly like we are having a strategy date and we're making an alliance, and we're not. This is not a romantic date from the start. And if she's like, I don't understand like if she's supposed to be this great game changer choice for whatever reason.
She should be having excellent dates. Like she should be good on a date.
We didn't even get like Hu-shin helped her find her phone because they happened to run into each other in the streets.
Yeah.
But
I'm pretty sure she went on a date with Jiwon that we just didn't see any of, right?
Yeah, but even that was probably like a leftover date.
Yeah.
Like it was like everybody had the date that night, and it was just like these are the last two. And yeah, they totally edited it out of the show. I don't know. It's just so weird to me that as a game changer, like we didn't get anything from anybody. And even Ming-yu was like, it took till like, even Ming-yu's like reason at the end of the show is not like, I'm picking Yisu because Yisu is awesome. It's like, I'm not picking Ji Young because I'm afraid of Ji Young. Like,
yeah. It's
like,
he's picking Nisu because she's uncomplicated.
How can the game changer on the show not have moments where like the guys are like talking about her? It's just so weird. I don't understand at all what happened with Yisu on the show.
Yep, I agree.
Okay.
It's a misstep for
maybe
the game changer.
Maybe just maybe just don't just cast people because they're attractive. That's their next piece of advice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You need the charisma to go with the looks.
Yeah. And there's plenty. There has to be plenty of people out there.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing that Bernie said in his comment was like, oh, so it sounds like the photo might have been leaked before Yisu was even on the show. Some people are like, oh, the girl that's going to be the game changer on the show is going to like end up liking Ming-yu. And maybe that's why the editors were just like, the jig is up. Everybody knows, like, we're not going to waste time pretending like Yisu likes other guys or that other guys like Yisu because everybody already knows. Maybe that's what they decided.
Guess.
I don't know. Super weird.
But still, they should have cast somebody that other guys would also like to, as the game changer.
Yeah. I think they could have done better. All right, Gyeo-rae. I'm on the fence about Gyeo-rae, I'll be honest.
Okay.
I up until the last 3 episodes or whatever it was, when he finally apologizes, I feel like we were on the same page. Like Gyeo-rae was pretty much a dud at this point, right?
Yeah. He really turned it around at the end of the season.
And like the situation in which he like won over Ji Young is like so like low percentage chance of happening. To the point where like I don't really believe that it's like super serious from Ji Young's side. And it like basically like all the chips had to fall perfectly for Gyeo-rae to end up with somebody in the end. And he like, but at the same time, I don't have any strong reasons for why he like shouldn't be on the show. So he's kind of in that like if you're struggling to fill out a cast, I don't think Gyeo-rae is like a terrible choice. But I would not be excited to watch like somebody like Gyeo-rae again. I wouldn't be like pumped about that. But I also there are worse choices is what I'll say.
Yeah. I will say that not that he was too old for the show, but the age gap between him and the youngest person was like too big, where like that kind of eliminated people off the field as to who would potentially like, you're never going to get Jimin and Gyeo-rae on a date and it's going to be believable.
Yeah.
So, like, this is not a specific knock against Gyeo-rae and his age. It's just like the spread of ages across the whole cast was a little awkward in that way.
Yeah, and I forget the order in which they revealed the ages, but I remember thinking at one point like, oh, Gyeo-rae's 35. Like that's the oldest we've ever seen the show. And I was actually a little like, oh, like that's a good idea because then you can have like older women on the show and they actually have somebody that's older than them. And then
Yeah,
all the women ended up being like younger than all the guys
exactly.
except for G1. So
hmm
I was a little surprised by that, like because we've seen seasons where like a woman is like 31, but then she's older than
Yeah.
all the guys, and then based on
And
the
she
trends that
wants somebody who's older, and yeah, most of the guys want somebody who's younger, so it just
yeah,
like doesn't work out.
it's like not as bad as being the super young guy, but it's like the next worst thing probably is being like the oldest woman. That's actually
Yeah.
like if you're the oldest person of the season and you're a woman, it's probably a bad spot.
Yeah.
But like this, because Gyeo-rae was 35, and I don't know, I feel like maybe they don't take age into account. They don't think about age too much when they do these things, and they try to cast on personality. Which, when it comes to like Jimin, I think even though Jimin's way younger than everybody, I think she's worth having on the show.
Oh, absolutely.
And then Gyeo-rae's way older, so I don't know. Gyeo-rae's like right on the fence to me. Like he'd be like a last second
Yeah.
yes or no for me.
And it would be less of an issue if they stuck with the premise of you can't reveal ages for longer than a day. But just given how integral that is to the language, everybody would lose their minds. So they can't really
Yeah.
stick with that.
The show also loves the moment. This happens every season where like they'll speculate about ages, and then like one of the guys will like be so confident that they start thinking another one of the guys is like younger than them, and then they're like, and then they're wrong, and then it turns into this whole like
awkward apology
moment. Again. Like,
thing.
is it really worth casting to set up these moments? Like, I can't actually tell. Like, does Gyeo-rae, when you don't know Gyeo-rae's age, does he actually appear younger? But that's what I think. G1.
I mean, I've said many times that he's got big grandpa energy, so I don't know.
Did you say that before we found out his age, though?
Ooh.
I forget what we said when we were predicting.
Because we find like it's the second day they reveal it, right? Like they tell them so fast.
Yeah, on this show they did it pretty fast, yeah. But that G1, who was actually the youngest person of the season, thought that the oldest person in the season was younger than him.
Yeah.
So, maybe that's the reason Gyeo-rae was cast. Like the producers were like, "Oh yeah, people are gonna think he's young. We'll get that moment we love." But
maybe
I hope they're not casting just for that
just
moment.
for the age surprise.
Yeah.
Oof.
But
that's so fleeting.
Yeah. Would you be up for seeing Gyeo-rae? Because like these shows are pretty early on, but like in like American versions of these shows, like eventually like they might like a person's still not in a relationship or they're not in a relationship.
Oh, and then they bring them back.
Like,
yeah,
they like, bring them back for a second chance. Like, would you want to see Gyeo-rae again? If like say
late season Gyeo-rae wouldn't be bad.
That's true. He could be. I mean, it's weird. It is weird that.
But I think he would reset. Like with a new group of people, he would be like awkward to start and need to build up again.
Yeah, because like he's already 35. It's not like if we see Jimin again in 4 years, like she might be a totally different person. It's like Gyeo-rae's probably going to be pretty similar.
Yeah, he's finished baking. You know, he's not going to make big personality changes.
He might be more used to again, like maybe his nervousness was came from like being on a TV
situation.
show.
Yeah,
and that like we don't see how kind of weird it is to like have cameras right in your face while you're on a date, but like maybe he wasn't good with that, and maybe
he's better with it now. Yeah.
If he had it from the beginning, maybe we would have appreciated him more the entire season.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm right on the fence. Maybe I've talked myself into I'd watch Gyeo-rae again. Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Jimin, we've kind of
absolutely 100%. She belongs on every show.
Yeah, it's the age, since age is such a big deal. It seems like I think it's tough to be like the student on these shows.
Yeah,
I think, especially for guys, but even for girls, I think. So yeah, it's like if I was in casting, I'd be like, wow, this girl's like exactly what we want. Like I wish she was older, but we can't pass up on like Jimin has to be on the show. So
absolutely,
you just roll the dice and maybe you get like a match out of it, but
If not, you get some cute ass content regardless.
I also am glad that like they found Jimin, they cast her on the show, and they didn't like cast like people of certain ages around her. Like they just
Yeah.
now maybe I wish they for some people I wish like Jiwon, I wish they had found somebody better than Jiwon who maybe was closer to Jimin's age. Maybe that's like where they could have improved, but they didn't like not cast Gyeo-rae because Jimin's on the show. You know what I mean? Like they should just be trying to find like 8 good people to be on the show and not like totally blow their casting by being like, okay, since Jimin's 24, we have to make sure everything's centered around her. But I think Jimin is like very exactly what I want to see on these shows, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Hu-shin.
I mean, I enjoyed Hu-shin thoroughly.
Yeah, I think Hu-shin's another...
He's a great game changer. He's tall and like mysterious at first, and then is silly and fun. Yeah.
I think Hu-shin is like almost like the ideal guy you're looking for when you're casting for the show.
For the show in general, or like a game changer position?
Oh, probably. I mean, if you're married to the game changer idea, like he's probably the best for game changer. But even in general, just get him on the show.
Good on the show, yeah.
He was 31, which is like a pretty good age for a guy on the show. Like he's probably going to be older than every woman, so that's good. And then he's like up front, he's like the muscular guy. Like he's
he's tall.
Like Hu-shin on Singles Inferno. We want to see that, right?
Yes, that would be great.
Yeah,
put this man on a beach.
Yeah, like get rid of Dongwoo on Singles Inferno. Give me Hu-shin on Singles Inferno. Hell yeah!
Oh, that season would have been so much better.
I know.
Yes,
right? Let's go.
I mean, the man brought his snail to the house. It was great.
That was awesome.
So he's attractive. He's different looking. He's really funny, but then he's also like in touch enough with his emotions to be able to speak through things intelligently with people. Like he's just all around got all the things you want.
I think his funniness alone was the reason to cast him.
Yeah.
Like, and all that other stuff is just like, wow, you're like, this one quality is good enough to cast you, but you actually have all the qualities we are looking for. So yeah, I think Hu-shin is pretty much like the ideal type for this show. These shows.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Hu-shin could be on every season. I think it would be fun.
I mean, I hope if he's looking for love, I hope he doesn't be on every season of the show. That would mean those sorts of things are not working out in the long term. But yeah,
it's just timing, watch him on TV some timing. More. Maybe he just doesn't. Maybe if he wasn't the game changer,
Oh, okay, yeah, maybe you're right.
All right, Ming-yu.
Oh, what is a Ming-yu?
This is tough. I want to hear what you got to say about Ming-yu.
This is so hard because I feel like my entire perception of Ming-yu has been completely fucked by the edit.
Yeah.
But on a certain level, he is also somebody who does not communicate well. And that is not helpful for my enjoyment of the show, but is maybe helpful to production while they're trying to make things confusing or surprising. I don't know. I started out feeling good about Ming-yu in the beginning of the season, and it's just been progressively worse as it's gone on.
Yeah, like I don't think being good at communicating is like how good you are at communicating is not a reason to cast or not cast, because it can go either way where like you can get really cute moments or you can get really misunderstandings that lead to drama. So I don't think that really matters. What's weird about Ming-yu is like in a world where let's say none of the girls were into Ming-yu, like would Ming-yu have been fun to watch in the show? I don't know.
Oh, he had not been under pressure, maybe.
Like ultimately, like maybe the reason why all his dates were so good to watch was because either the girl was into him, so like some genuine flirting was happening, or in the other case, it was dates with Jimin, and Jimin was making the dates really, really good because Jimin's exactly what you want on these shows.
But I think he was also contributing in the beginning with the Jimin. Like, I don't think she was pulling a lot of the weight because she's just like amazing. But I think he also contributed to those dates being cute.
Yeah. Actually, now that I look back on it, yeah, I think Ming-yu's good. Like he had a lot of like funny. He's like the perfect like shy archetype, I would say.
Yeah.
Where somehow, and I don't know why, but like essentially everybody, like 3 of the 4 girls, ended up being super into him. Like and I don't know, I would be curious to know if that's something that casting expected to happen or not, because certainly when I first saw Ming-yu, I did not think that he was like he would be that the archetype that gets the most girls into him, but somehow he was. Yeah, so I don't know. I think he's like kind of a unique version of the shy guy archetype.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he's good. I think he would have been funny even if he wasn't the main character.
I think I would have enjoyed him better if he wasn't the main character.
Yeah, ultimately,
probably. Because he was the main character, he was feeling a lot of pressure about all these girls being into him, and the edit did weird things to him.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I agree with that. And then Jiyoung.
Well, I mean, everybody was in love with her, so she can't have been a bad pick, right?
Yeah. Maybe a little like I again, I don't think casting could have predicted this, but like everybody was into her, which ultimately maybe wasn't ideal, and almost like this. I feel like this season almost became worst case scenario, where or no, I guess worst case scenario. I think for this kind of show is like nobody picks anybody in the end.
Yeah,
and then it almost became like second worst case scenario, where like there's one match, but like they did not have good content to show for that match. So
yep.
So that I think they got really lucky that Jiyoung decided to switch to Gyeo-rae, like
absolutely
right towards the end, and give us a couple that felt good. So it's a little. I don't think they expected Jiyoung to be like every guy likes her the most.
Yeah, because you definitely like don't want that. You want there to be
do.
some movement, some options. You don't want most of your cast to be doing nothing, you know?
Yeah, I guess there always is one girl especially that I feel like gets a lot of
attention. Yeah.
Lots more attention. And maybe that's like something that's built into like the nature of guys, especially maybe in these kind of situations they put them in, where like it becomes this like snowball effect of like once you see like enough guys into one girl, then like people then also like all the other guys start seeing that one girl as like the most attractive. I don't know.
That's weird.
It could be a thing. I don't know.
Okay.
It's like okay, this I don't know. I'm trying to think about it. They're just weird things where like we never really get a good reason why G1 likes Jiyoung. He just kind of decided it.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just something about like stereotypical Korean beauty that I don't understand.
Yeah, she might be like the closest to the standard, and maybe that's just what brings everybody in.
And maybe it's because maybe it's partially because they only have 3 guys and 3 girls at the beginning of the show. So it's like here, choose your favorite out of these 3 people, and then once you choose, it just kind of like a lot of people we see end up like they make a decision and then they're just kind of stuck on it.
Yeah.
And maybe something about Jiyeon, when she was one of 3 girls, it was just like, oh yeah, this is the one we like. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't totally get it, because I feel like the person I would have texted, I feel like the person I would have texted like in the first day or whatever would have been Jimin.
Yeah.
Or so I don't really. Yeah, I guess I'm just not the person to. Like I also think Jiyeon's like super cute, and she's ultimately like ends up being the most attractive on the show, partially because we get to see her perspective.
Yeah.
More than anybody's. But yeah, I think Jiyoung's good casting.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the producers might have thought like, oh yeah, Yisu, everybody's gonna like Yisu. We'll save her to be the game changer. That would really mix it up. And then it was just like, oh no, everybody chose Jiyoung. And then I don't know what they were going for with this Yisu stuff. So
yeah, unclear.
I think they got close to like pretty bad scenario.
Yeah,
on the show.
Definitely.
And it's not Jiyoung's fault. It's just like, I guess these things just happen sometimes.
Yep, they did their best with it, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, we love people like Jiyoung.
Yeah.
She has the right attitude overall, pretty much. She handled her position on the show pretty well, I think.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Real champ for having to sit through all those dates with this guy she wasn't into.
It's a little bit of like, I feel like there were like a little bit of times where like it would have been nice if, and this is probably a production thing more than anything. It would have been nice if she could have just said like, "Yeah, I'm into Ming-yu." Like she said it eventually, but
Yeah.
like if it had happened earlier in the season,
Yeah.
maybe that would have been nice. But then again, we probably don't get the Gyeo-rae moment if she says it earlier in the season, you know?
That's true. Yeah.
So, like, her having to be vague enough that Gyeo-rae couldn't tell what she was saying was, like, a big contributor to why
Oh, yeah. Why he
everything ended up.
kept on. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so we like Jiyoung. Anything else you want to say about anybody that was casted?
I think that was it.
It's basically just Jiwon and Yisu, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think they were the only two that I would say were below the bar on the casting. Everybody else was at least met the bar or was
really great.
Like the top for me are Jimin and Hu-shin, I think.
Absolutely.
Like they're just like
they are good at being on TV.
Perfect. Yeah. Hu-shin's like really perfect. And then Jimin's personality is like ideal. And then everybody else was good or just good enough.
Acceptable.
Yeah, good or acceptable, which, you know, I'm fine. I mean, there always feels like there's at least a couple casting mistakes, which I'm not saying it's easy to do these things. I'm just giving my notes on what I want to see in these shows. I mean, yeah, and people let us know like who we get a lot of feedback sometimes about our perspectives versus like the Korean audience perspective. And I can't always tell if it's like it's one person telling us what the Korean audience perspective is, so I don't actually know if it's like their perception of the Korean audience perception or I don't know, you know what I mean? But like I think at one point somebody messaged us and it was like right after like the G1 Jumi date. And they told us that like, oh, everybody is shipping G1 and Jumi after that episode.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And that was like not the vibe that we had.
Right.
Like I forget exactly how you felt about it, but I remember feeling like I don't think this is a thing. Like Jumi's not dating somebody younger than her. Like
absolutely. She was not gonna do that.
So yeah, I'm curious what people like, who people really really liked this season.
Yeah.
Like if you kind of take out the like ending up in a couple in the end and just look at everybody individually, like who do you
would you cast them?
Who would you want to watch again?
Yeah,
you know, 4 years from now, like Heart Signal 8 Jimin comes back, I'm in on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hu-shin can be on the season too. There's a whole future of start doing if this is the US, you just like start doing like crossovers of all the like Singles Inferno people with with all these with heart Transit Love people. I don't think we need to see those people. We haven't finished that season. We haven't
finished it. It might turn around. But I mean, I guess if you are talking about logical progressions, I guess you get couples together on Heart Signal, they break up, and then they go to Transit Love. You know.
Oh yeah, there you go.
It's a pipeline that could exist.
Yeah, wait till we talk about the casting decisions on Transit Love 2.
Ooh,
and production decisions.
That's gonna be
a conversation.
That's gonna be fun.
All right. Anything else on the characters of the season that you want to talk about before we go into the edit? Let's
get into this edit.
Okay. All right. What do you want to talk about, Sarah?
I am a little frustrated with like this last episode. They basically tell you who's gonna pick who before they tell us, they actually show us. So it's not like we were leading to some big surprise, and yet they seem to bend over backwards to make the edit confusing and weird. So that way, maybe whatever, we're questioning it the whole way through just for a fairly cut and dry, straightforward ending.
Yeah. And well, that does annoy me, but like at the same time, I'm saying like, oh, the journey was good, even though we don't like the destination. So overall, like I still enjoyed the season, even though like it wasn't set, like the matches in the end weren't satisfying.
But it's hard for me to tell if that is strictly I don't like watching Yisu and Ming-yu together, or did the edit contribute to that? Like, I don't believe them as a couple because I feel like I haven't been shown things that make sense with them as a couple.
Yeah. Ultimately, my best guess is that this TV show has to fill such a big time slot.
Yeah.
Because the simple fact that they still do these prediction segments at the end of each episode is like the biggest evidence that they very much are trying to fill a time slot. Because straight up, like, the show would have been better. Like, if you're listening to our podcast, I made it seem very intriguing that the production is lying to us about the predictions and don't trust them. Don't trust them. They're trying to trick us. Don't trust them. But in reality, they just gave us the answers the whole time. And like straight up, like the season would just be better if we didn't get updates at the end of each episode as to where everybody's
people
at.
were picking, yeah.
Yeah. Like we would just have to speculate ourselves. And this isn't a knock on the hosts, because I think the hosts are great, and I still don't mind them interjecting while they watch and then having their little segments where they give their interpretation, basically do what we do on the podcast, but they're doing it in the middle, like in between segments on the show. Yeah, like I think the hosts are actually really good on the show, but just take out this whole last segment, it would have made it way more interesting.
But you got to fill up time. So how do you fix that?
Exactly. And then the other thing, yeah, in a perfect world where you just have to make the best story and you're not constrained to filling up a certain amount of time, you would just take it out. And then the other thing I would take out is like, I don't know, I was thinking about this, like maybe the process for editing the show is like you take all the dates and you kind of like edit the dates so that you just have like the good moments that are good TV, right?
Uh-huh.
And my guess is what happened when they did that is they were just like, damn, we got a lot of Ming-yu content. Like the dates that Ming-yu went on were the best dates.
Yep.
And to me, like it would have been nice or the story that I would have like preferred to have seen was give me the Ming-yu and Jimin stuff at the beginning. Because that was authentic and real from like Ming-yu's side. Yeah. I still believe that. And Jimin wasn't feeling it or whatever, and it fizzled out, and that's okay. It was still a great early story in the season. Yeah. But as soon as Yisu shows up on the show and whatever happens between Yisu and Ming-yu, I kind of wish we just never saw them. Like not never, but I kind of wish like the show didn't tease us with this Ming-yu might pick Jiyoung thing. And even if Ming-yu was into Jiyoung and was thinking about it at the time, the fact that the explanation that they're going to have for why Ming-yu picks Yisu is not going to be satisfying. Because if there was a satisfying story to be told, I think they would have told it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's not satisfying, I kind of just wish they didn't tease us with it.
Yeah, they should have gotten the standard people who hook up too early on a dating show treatment where they just see them in the background sometimes.
Yeah. But at the same time, I understand if they do that, there are a bunch of good Ming-yu dates that Ming-yu with whatever he is like not good with words, or they got drunk and he wasn't fully in control of what he was saying with Jiyoung, maybe. I don't know. But there was a lot of good date content still out there that involved Ming-yu. So it was, I don't know if it was easier or what it was, but it was easier to fill time by making Ming-yu the main character, I guess, is what it was.
Yeah.
But like, even if you take Ming-yu he's still going to be on the show, but maybe you make it more clear to the audience, like how into Yisu he is somehow. And maybe they just couldn't even do that. I don't know. But like, it still would have been interesting to watch Jiyoung's story from her perspective. Like if they really focus on her perspective, and like us knowing that Ming-yu is definitely more into Yisu, but Jiyoung is like figuring it out. I think that still would have been a good story. And then ultimately, like Jiyoung, like maybe you could have been a little less obvious with the Gyeo-rae stuff at the end. And then the decision could have actually been, it's not like, is Jiyoung going to match with Ming-yu or is Jiyoung going to match with Gyeo-rae? It's just like, is Jiyoung going to figure out that she should be picking Gyeo-rae or something?
Yeah.
And like, she's going to figure it out. And that was obvious to us because we saw the final date with Ming-yu as the audience. But like, what if they just didn't show us that date? Like we would have been like, oh my God, what is Jiyoung going to do?
Yeah. And that would have been more satisfying than what we got instead.
Yeah. The other weird thing is that like the host guessing again is like kind of messing up the show at the very end because they whatever like silly scorekeeping thing they're doing is like
Mm-hmm.
and they're supposed to be quote unquote like winning money based on how
Yeah.
well they do. I think like the final thing they do is like they have to guess the final predictions correct to like earn the money that they've accumulated for the
Yes.
entire season or something
Mm-hmm.
weird, which means like assuming that the hosts aren't in on any productions like behind the scenes weirdness, like they're
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
acting. Like the show wants the host to get it right, I assume.
Mm.
I'm curious if like the hosts have ever gotten it wrong in the 4 seasons of this show. I'm
Oh.
guessing that they have not. But
Okay. That's
um
interesting. Yeah. So the show's more motivated to make it pretty clear in that last episode.
and this isn't necessarily a bad strategy. Like the show like wants the at the very end like wants the audience to get it right so like they feel
Mm.
satisfied. But I think that this like not they waited too long to show where Ming-yu is at. And maybe Ming-yu didn't make it clear where he's at and they didn't have a choice, but we waited it took us so long to figure out where Ming-yu was at that it didn't feel satisfying to see Ji-young
Yeah.
switch. Or it didn't I don't know. There's something that's not satisfying about seeing Ji-young switch so late and Ming-yu pick a girl that just wasn't Ji-young. I don't know. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's a little weird.
I agree.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just getting rid of the. They're not going to do it. It's too ingrained in the show.
In the concept of the show. Yeah.
yeah, I'd be curious, like if people know if the Korean audience is like really into the prediction part
Mm.
of it, or like even just like the majority of the audience of the show, do they really care about the prediction part that much?
Yeah. That would be interesting to know.
Because
Because I don't care about it at all.
yeah, because like we get segments sometimes where the hosts are talking about like, oh, everybody's wondering is talking about Ming-yu, everybody's talking about Ji-young, and they talk about because they're recording their commentary like week to week as the show is coming out, so they get
Yeah.
like updates from people in the streets or whatever about what they
They
think
are
about the show.
on Korean Twitter or whatever
Yeah.
and paying
Yeah.
attention. Yeah. Yeah.
So I never hear them talk about like, and I don't know why this would be in the show. It'd be really dumb, but like they never hear them talk about like, oh, I was talking to people and they were just like so pumped that they got the predictions right, like just like or
Yeah.
or like people were slamming me because my prediction was so bad last episode, like or like
Mm,
you
yeah.
know, like they never talk like we never hear like feedback from the audience via the host that like the prediction segment is worth talking about. You know,
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious. If anybody actually likes it? I could see doing it at the end, like if you want to build, like have one final
Yes.
discussion, and it like draws out the tension of it. It would be better if the show didn't make it so obvious who was
Yeah.
picking who at the very end, and then they had this long discussion about from the host, and then they had these like final predictions.
Yeah, but
I
as
could
it
see
stands
that.
with it just being so straightforward, it's so inconsequential that
Yeah.
not interesting.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Anything else you want to talk about, Sarah?
Oof, I don't know. I don't think so. It's been a lot.
I think
It's been a long season.
I think we ended up talking about production stuff as we went a lot. So
Yeah.
yeah. Here's the thing: we used to do all the time, but we don't do them at the end of every episode anymore.
Yeah.
Do you want to keep watching this show?
Oh. Well, I mean the season's over, so okay.
Yeah, but there'll be
next
another
season?
one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I'd probably watch it. Yeah.
Like, would you? I think it's a good. I mean, I'm a little disappointed by the prediction segment.
Yeah.
Like now that I've seen it play out and was like really paying attention to it, now I'm like, oh, the predictions are really a spoiler indicator of what's going on.
Yeah.
So maybe it won't be as fun to like do the detective work next time. I'm not sure.
Okay. But if you go in knowing that it's not going to be that it's going to be pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Like I feel part of it was the disappointment of, oh, well, okay, this is just what it is. But if you know that going in, it might not be so disappointing.
That too, yeah. That it could work the other way, you're right. But yeah, I think this is a fun show to podcast about for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely.
So
Yeah.
I think we'll keep it on
On our radar.
our radar going forward. I don't know if there's
Yeah.
I kind of doubt there's been an announcement for Heart Signal 5, but where does it rank for you out of the three
Ooh.
shows that we've watched? Singles Inferno, Heart Signal, and Transit Love.
I think that might be the order. Singles Inferno, Heart Signal,
Yes.
Transit Love. Yeah.
Because I have to say, if you asked me that question for like, I don't know, halfway through the season for Heart Signal, the season of Heart Signal, I was at the point where I was like, oh no, Heart Signal is doing it for me. It's like I like Heart Signal more than Singles Inferno. But the way that it all ended here and then the predictions just being what they were in the end, yeah, I'm back to Singles Inferno being my favorite of the three.
I think part of it for me is there are so many episodes and there may be too many episodes for the amount of content they have, you know?
Because Singles Inferno is on Netflix, it's better.
Yeah, it's there's less episodes. If there were more people maybe and you keep this number of episodes, then maybe things would be a little bit more chaotic and, you know, it would keep going longer. I don't know. There's some way to balance that out where this show gets snappier and would probably be closer to on par again with Singles Inferno.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about more people or less people being better, but for sure, like, yeah. Now that I think about it, like, if this was a streaming show and not a show that was put on television, and they weren't constrained to
however much like airtime they're supposed to fill up,
fixed times in each episode. Yeah, I actually think that this show would be a lot better as a streaming show. Yeah, that's a good point.
But also, like, what's not to love about watching a dating show on a beach, you know? Like, it's fun.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I do like the aesthetic of the island. But what I was really liking about this show up until the end was I liked the lack of confessionals.
Right.
There's something because you know, like, confessionals aren't happening in the moment, and then the person gets to kind of reflect of whatever they said in that moment. I'm always like,
kind of rewrite history.
I'm always like, I don't really know how to trust. Like, are they really saying how they felt in that moment, or are they saying what they now feel the way they should have felt in that moment? You know, kind of thing. So I feel like the confessionals can be a little misleading or disingenuous, or just not worth really being there. And what's interesting about this show is, like, it seems like they don't even bother filming confessionals at all, which like, there are some confessionals that are probably worth showing. So, like, the right balance is like, oh, you do confessionals, but don't rely on them. In a perfect world, you just, like, wouldn't rely on them to fill time, and you wouldn't use them as a tool to confuse the audience.
Yeah.
You would just show, like, if somebody's good at doing confessionals, you would show their confessionals. And then just overall, I don't know if it's the music or the kind of dates they do. I don't know what it is. I really like the vibe of Heart Signal.
Yeah, that's fair. It's pleasant.
Yeah, it's very pleasant definitely compared to Transit Love. And then we're almost coming back around to Singles Inferno. So now it's been a while since I've watched it, but there are moments in Singles Inferno, like the fight pit, or or things that I definitely, like, straight up just, like, don't enjoy, and I don't think there was ever a moment like that on Heart Signal.
Yeah, you also don't get the variety of dates that you get on Heart Signal. You know, like, you're stuck on a beach and at the hotel in Singles Inferno, so that might get a little old.
From what I've been reading, that might change with Singles Inferno 3.
Oh, really?
So we do not know. I can check right now. I don't think we know when Singles Inferno 3 is going to drop on Netflix.
We just assume.
I'm kind of assuming it's December, because that was when the first two did. But all it says on Netflix is it's official, another season is coming. So there's going to be a Singles Inferno 3. And then what I've read about it is, like, they might be on a different island, or they're not just going to go, like, Paradise isn't going to be, like, just the same hotel every time. So the dates there might actually be a variety to the dates in Singles Inferno 3.
Okay.
Which, yeah, again, that's going to give it. I would imagine that would be only going to make the show better, not seeing the same place multiple times. So, yeah, I think Heart Signal almost beat Singles Inferno for me, but ultimately I think I'm a Singles Inferno person. Still.
Heart Signal just needs to do a little bit better editing down, you know, be snappier, you know.
Which they can't. I mean, as long as
which
their
they can't.
property is owned by whatever, they can't do it. But
Yeah, as long as they're on TV in their time slot, they gotta fill it. But
yeah. All right. Well, that's where we stand after watching Heart Signal 4. What a journey, Sarah.
oh yeah, it's been a fun time.
Have we missed anything on this show? Probably.
Probably, but
People
it's
let us
hard
know
to
what
tell
we're
at this
gonna talk
point.
Yeah.
Well, there is going to be the reunion episode.
Oh yeah, that's
and
what
we
we're
have
talking about.
not decided if that matters or not.
Yeah, so I would say people let us know if you want us to talk about the reunion. I know there's also people out there that are excited for us to get back to covering Transit Love 2, since we put a pause on that to finish up Heart Signal. I think we have about 7 episodes left, but maybe the last one's a reunion. I don't know. Something like that for Transit Love. So, and I know there's people that want to hear that. So we could go right back into that next, or we could maybe do like a recap of the reunion.
It hasn't come out yet, so we haven't seen it, so I don't know if it's worth it or not.
Yeah. As of right now, it's a few days till the reunion comes out. I would say, I'd say people watch the reunion, see what you think about it, and then let us know if you want to hear us talk about it. And then we'll weigh that against. Also, let us know if you're a Transit Love person out there. Just like, I kind of know who you are already, but just let us know again that you would prefer that we go right back to Transit Love and skip the reunion.
Yeah, and thank you for your patience for Transit Love for a while.
And then we'll just like weigh the two and see which one makes more sense based on what people are saying. Yeah, because let's see. Let me check the calendar right now. We got at the end of August. Let's say even if it takes us 2 months to finish Transit Love, we'd still have like November left until December, and then theoretically Singles Inferno will come out in December.
Yeah.
So
we're not sure what we're gonna do in that time yet. So if you got ideas,
I do love covering a show as it's airing. I think I like that sweet spot.
That has been nice.
So I don't know. Maybe people can recommend. It's hard to be. We don't have the bandwidth to watch multiple shows at the same time. So it's like,
yeah, we tried. It was rough.
We kind of need to like know in advance that a show's coming out and then start covering it when it comes out, which is what we were able to do for Singles Inferno and Heart Signal.
Yeah.
So I don't know if people know shows that are coming out. So we probably are going to have like a month or 2 months.
I don't know that anything's going to fit into that slot quite nicely.
So maybe we'll go back to the old format of our show before we started watching Korean reality dating shows was like we would just watch the first episode or couple episodes of a show, and then we would just decide if we would like keep watching that show off the podcast based on the first couple episodes. And maybe we can do some stuff like that. Maybe we'll just watch like each episode will be a different show. We'll watch a variety of different shows in between before Singles Inferno starts. But we definitely want to cover Singles Inferno, right, Sarah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah. I'm pumped for Singles Inferno.
Yeah, definitely. Especially now that it might be different.
Yeah. But yeah, so people can recommend not watching. I don't think we have to recommend watching an entire season of a show, but
yeah, I don't think we'll be able
to. Or you can recommend watching an entire season of a show to us, but as far as the podcast go, we would only recap and talk about the beginning of a show, like the first episode or two. So if people want to hear us talk about a show like that, they can recommend to us as well.
Yeah.
Any other points of business that we need to talk about? This might be the last time we're talking to the heart signal people that are listening to us. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I hope they join us again for some other stuff. But if not, hey, it's been fun. Hope you enjoyed it.
If there are heart signal people that have not watched Singles Inferno yet, come along with us on that journey. I mean, you could go back and listen to us for Singles Inferno 2, or go watch the 2 seasons that are out. But
or whatever.
Keep an eye open for us in December when we're covering Singles Inferno 3 as it's coming out. I think that'll be fun. Where can they contact us with all these recommendations and insights that we missed?
People can email us at keepwatchingpod@gmail.com, tweet at us at Keep Watching Pod, Instagram at us at Keep Watching Pod, leave a comment under the video on YouTube also at Keep Watching Pod, and I don't know, if you are happy to be at the end of this, what felt to me like a marathon of a dating show, and want to tell us all your big feelings about it, you can leave us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Yes. I mean, this Transit Love is longer than this, isn't it?
Well, I guess it felt like a marathon because we were doing both of them for a long time.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And so it felt like such a big undertaking. And so now I will breathe a sigh of relief as we quietly go finish Transit Love.
We're almost going to get because we covered Singles Inferno from late December to January.
Mm-hmm.
And then we basically, we've had a couple of one-off episodes here and there, but we've basically been covering Korean reality dating show content for it will be
almost the entire
almost
year.
An entire year, at least 10 months.
Hey, if that's what the people like, I don't mind it. I'm having fun.
Well, we like it too. So yeah, it's fun. I would love to get into some wacky Netflix reality TV show. It doesn't have to be a dating show necessarily, or maybe that's what for the one-offs. Maybe we'll watch. I'm thinking I have to go look up some of the ones I was thinking about, but it shows we've talked about before, Physical 100.
Yeah.
I think if we watch the first couple episodes of Physical 100 and then we just talked about that, that'd be a cool one-off episode.
Yeah.
But that's it's come out so long ago that I wouldn't talk about it. But I'd like a somewhat newer show that maybe people haven't checked out yet. And before, our concept was one of us has watched the show and we're trying to get the other person to watch it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind just choosing a random wacky looking reality show on Netflix or something, and then
that neither of us
watched and been is this good? Do we want to actually see what happens at the end of the show?
Yeah.
I'd
be down for that.
Yeah. The possibilities are endless, really, at this point.
Yeah. Well, the possibilities will fit into approximately a month and a half to 2 months.
But then Singles Inferno is only it's over pretty fast, right? It's 10 episodes, but they release 2 at a time, so we're done in 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And then
we'll have to make some decisions again. Yeah.
Yeah. And in the months to come, we'll have some decisions to make. So it'll be fun.
And
we'll keep
you
going.
Can help us. Just send us whatever. We'll see if it happens.
Yeah. Alrighty. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.
Bye.